deserving winner of that championship. And although I enjoyed the TCR stuff, I think I really am looking forward to this. Sorry, should I say I joined the USF 2000 stuff, but I'm really looking forward to this. This car and track combination, for as much nostalgia sake as anything else, is probably my favourite. I love seeing touring cars go around Donington. This is set to be a really exciting championship. Some guys that we haven't seen before, some guys that have spent a lot of time in Pro-Am, got a chance to go up to Pro, and also some guys that have real world experience in this championship on this track that we'll see tonight. So round one of the iDMC Spring Series, it's going to be a good one.
Absolutely, it's going to be brilliant. We're looking forward to the next couple of weeks. We're keeping it within the UK. This series, we were over in the US for a good chunk of the last series. Well, basically all of it, apart from the one trip over to Canada. But we're sticking with the UK tracks. We start at Donington. The guys have been putting in a lot of practice, and of course, as always, there was a pre-qualifying to get into this series as well. And there is now, we do not have separate Pro and Pro-Am races. Pro and Pro-Am are on the same bit of road, which is going to make for some great racing. That gives us 60 cars that go onto the grid. It's going to be an interesting overall. Of course, we're looking at the times at the moment, so you'll see on the left hand side of your screen the different colors that we've got on those, and you can see that the yellow marking will denote the pro standings, and the blue mark, the little stripe, will denote the Pro-Am category, so it's easier to keep up with everybody. But an interesting name was at the top of the standings in pre-qualifying. It was Jason Cooper, who was the fastest man out of anyone, and of course Jason is a former winner in this series. Back when we did the touring car series a while ago, and that was that wonderful finish between himself, Keith Dempsey, and and Craig Breen, I believe it was, in the last corner at Olsen Park. So it was a great little finish going on. But Jason Cooper, as at the moment, half a second at the top of the standing. So really great stuff from all these guys. But if I can bring in Niall, he's working the cameras hard at work. Niall, if I can bring you in to have a quick chat with us at the starts of qualifying while we're in the middle of it. Brand new season, a lot of excitement in the camp, I think.
Sorry, Jack, I don't know if you guys can hear me now. We're having a little bit of an audio meltdown here today, but that's all on my end. Yeah, exciting news. We've released today that we're title sponsors of the ICCR, the Irish Circuit Racing Championship, and everything is going well on that end of things. And of course, with this, the launch of the iDMC, the big picture plan is to make sure that we can tie up the two ends of the iDMC feeding into the Irish Circuit Racing Championship eventually. So that's going to be exciting to watch. But right now, for me, this is where it's all. I just cannot wait to see this TCR Championship. The quality of the grid we have here today is just unbelievable. I think we've really demonstrated how we can get the best of the best in digital motorsport onto this grid. And with you guys, with Kevin and Jack, we've really got the best team in terms of commentators. So I won't take up too much more time, but I'm super excited for this championship, and I just can't wait to see the lights go green and the start of this first race.
It's going to be fantastic. Myself and Kevin have been really excited to get back going. But a name who's returning to Digital-Motorsports. It's been a long absence for Naveed Hussain, but he is back on the grid. and looking really impressively fast, which is immediately eclipsed by Jason Cooper. But Jason, Kevin, he's really experienced in TCR. He knows these cars inside out. He's a former winner in this championship. Is he a tip for the title?
Well, I mean, you've said it all there yourself, haven't you? He's top fastest in pre-qualifying, fastest here now in practice, and obviously a previous winner in these type of cars. So it's very hard to see beyond anybody but Jason. But as we know, these championships are always extremely close. It usually comes down to one or two big moments in the season. Somebody, getting caught up in traffic, having a technical issue, so when it comes to the iDMC championships, they're rarely predictable. And with TCR cars, they just encourage such close racing, such close battling side to side. I think that'll help Jason in the fact that he doesn't have to be afraid of going into contact. He can kind of battle his way through and take those opportunities without worrying that it'll end his race, which is one of the things I really love about these TCR cars. I think the only thing I would love to see from this TCR series is just a few more cars involved in it. We have the Audi RS3, of course, which is kind of the only car that we have on this grid. I'd love to see iRacing bring in a Honda Civic or maybe one of the Toyotas that race, or one of the Hyundais. I think it's the Blaster that races in the BTCC. So it would be fantastic to see some extra cars added to the TCR grid. But as you say, we have a split grid with Pro-Am and Pro. All racing on the same night, which I have to say personally I much prefer. It encourages a lot more close racing. It means that Pro-Am guys get a shot at the Pro guys as well, and get to, because there isn't a huge amount of difference between them, to be fair. So I'm really looking forward to it. I'm just really enjoying watching these Audi TCR cars go around Donington. I think ever since the TOCA Touring Car Championship around circa 2000 on the PlayStation 1, that was kind of my first taste of sim racing. So there's always the BTCC, and Donington also always has a kind of a special place in my heart when it comes to sim racing.
Yeah, and especially compared to the USF 2000, these things can take a bit more of a beating than the USF 2000s can. But of course, they do have the new damage model on these cars as well, so they have got to be a little bit careful. They can take a bit of contact, but not too much. But honours for pole in the pro category, and overall Jason Cooper on the pole for the first race of the night. And the returning Naveed Hussain, he's incredibly quick in these cars, 400th off a pole. And Dave Maguire, really impressive, up in third place. He came of age in the iDMC with the Indy Pro 2000s, the USF 2000s, and he was up at the front end of that championship as well. And we're going to run through a grid in just a moment's time as we get ready for heat race 1. Remember, the top 15 are inverted from the finishing order of race number 1, so really key to keep your eye on things. A couple of new faces joining us at iDMC as well. Here's the qualifying results. It is Jason Cooper on the pole, Naveed Hussain is in second, David Maguire in third, Wayne Douglas in P4, a former winner in this championship as well. And we have, of course, this is the pro split now as well. Dan Mould in P5, Keith Dempsey in 6th, Alex Denning returning as well in P7, Paul King, a new face in P8, really impressive from him, Brian McManus in P9 for VRA Racing, and Rory O'Shea, a really good qualifying at top 10. Evan Walsh, nice to see Evan back on the grid in 11th place, Liam Matthews in P12, Roland Doherty, Peter McCann and Tony Stack, who was promoted up from Pro-Am into Pro. Then we have Niall Murray, Adam Dowling in P17. Nice to see Adam on the grid as well. Nicky Meredith in P18 as well. A familiar face to everybody. There's Haroldus Utautas. He's a new man in this one as well. Ronan Fox, Rob Moore, Neil Ferrier and Mark Berney. Those are your pro standings. But it is going to be, I believe, Simon Wall is going to be on the pole for the Pro-Am category. We've 12 of those guys as far as we can see. But it is going to be, I think, as we look here, trying to see, I can't see if Michael Steele is in the Pro or Pro-Am category. Unfortunately, it's not quite on our graphic at the moment. We know Fabrizio Rivera is a Pro category driver, so we can put that to that. But Pro-Ams we'll keep an eye on, but the Pro guys, the fast guys, are at the head of the field. But absolutely no predictions going into this one. Jason Cooper looking very strong. He was very unlucky in previous seasons, but interesting to see. But I think Evan Walsh, I'm going to be watching him. He's a long time we've been missing him from the starting grid, and be interested to see how he gets on. in these touring cars. About to go green in just a few seconds' time for the opening race of the iDMC TCR Championship. Here we go. It's been a long time coming. The red lights are on for heat race 1 of the night. And we are away, and away we go. Naveed Hussain with a great start. He maybe got a little jump start as he heads towards turn number 1. Tucks in behind Jason Cooper as they head towards turn 1. Good start from Cooper, though. He leads into turn 1. Dave Maguire holds third, fighting with Dan Mould for third place around turn 1. They go. Maguire keeps the inside and goes side by side with Mould down into the Craner curves for the first time. A little bit of door banging already going on as Wayne Douglas gets his elbows out down the Craner curves. But it is Jason Cooper who leads this one. Naveed Hussain tucks into the back of him. Dave Maguire third. Dan Mould off the road in the background. He's losing places at a rapid rate there. Ronan Doherty's off the road as well as the Craner curves on cold tyres. Very, very tricky. But after lap 1, at the start of lap 1, Jason Cooper leads, but Naveed Hussain absolutely tucked right up underneath him, Kevin.
Brilliant battling down the Craner curves there. They just really encourage such close battling, and we're in the GP circuit now, so we have the chicane coming up after this corner, and you can see just how close they can get. Be interested to see now whether Hussain gets a run on Douglas going down the back straight. Good work from Douglas as well, muscling his way in ahead I was trying to see who it was there, but a good work from Douglas. He's up to 4th place now. Jason Cooper still manages to hold on to his 1st place. A bit of contact between Niall Murray and Peter McCann. Tony Stack was down there. He's a late qualifier as well from the Pro-Am, does Tony Stack. And there's a bit of action there in the background, as you can see. Cars kind of going left and right. Maguire staying close now, the back of Naveed Hussain, and you can see the gaps there, 4 tenths, 5 tenths, 8 tenths between them with 10 laps to go here. Don't be surprised if this could all change in the next couple of laps.
Absolutely, yeah. It is going to be very, very up and down as we see Evan Walsh there in the VRA Racing car, getting around the outside of Rory O'Shea for P10. He's now tucked in behind his teammate Brian McManus as they head towards turn 1, side by side between Rory O'Shea as well and Liam Matthews. I think that is in the background, is trying to get a move on. It's actually Niall Murray, sorry, that chucks it up the inside of turn 1. That's the turn 3 car. Very distinctive livery on that car. Plenty of these drivers involved as well. And Niall Murray up to P12 in this one. Now, as we look further down the order, these are the guys in the Pro-Am category, the marked in blue. That's Victor Cullen chasing after Owen Murray, trying to get up the inside through the Craner curves into the old hairpin. Has a little look and has to back off side by side in front. Masterson and Brendan Stone going side by side. Masterson trying to keep it on. Brendan Stone is off the road and doing a bit of grass cutting at the exit of the old hairpin. Comes back and rejoins. Thankfully, front wheel drive helping him out there in this race. But it's Jason Cooper still in the lead. Naveed Hussain there, but they've broken away 1.6 over Wayne Douglas in P3. But Kevin, the former champion of this series, Keith Dempsey, up to P4. As we head into the next chicane, Keith Dempsey, the former champion of this series. There he is, tucked in, gets a little bit out of shape through the chicane. And Dave Maguire will have seen that. He's going to try and pounce on Keith Dempsey on the inside line into the hairpin bend right here. The 36 car up the inside. Maguire trying to get stopped up the inside. And he does do so and moves back into P4. But it's still side by side up the hill. Dempsey tries to tuck in behind, but he can't quite get alongside, and he has to sit behind. But it is still Cooper. 10-lap race, of course, top 15 in Virtus over first grid pole, but currently go to Ronan Doherty in P12. Peter McCann's involved in that battle as well as they head through the last corner. There's Owen Murray as we just cycle through the field. There's Masterson after his excursion off the road. Ronan Fox in 32nd. Mark Birney. We already have Rob Moore, Chris McCann out of the race. Ian Malone is the last classified car at the moment, on board with Jason Cooper now as he comes down the Craner curves. And he is now trying to keep Naveed Hussain behind him. 1.6 is the gap to Wayne Douglas, so they're pretty clear out front. But Naveed is biding his time, sat behind Jason Cooper at the moment. So we'll see if that's going to sort itself out in the coming few laps. But Jason is driving in his mirrors at the moment. Naveed's absolutely all over him at the moment, doing a great job and sticking right underneath him through the right hander. Look at this. This is proper TCR racing right now as they head down towards the chicane, tucking in behind Hussain. I don't think he's going to go for them. He's quite happy to sit behind Jason Cooper at the moment. They're at the class of the field at the moment, pulling away from Wayne Douglas. Nearly 2 seconds is the gap at the moment. And through the chicane they go. Douglas in the background leads that big train of cars. Peter McCann, there he is in 14th place. Rory O'Shea's in front of him. Doherty is behind him. And we will jump now to the back. There's Brendan Stone, who was off the road a bit earlier. He's got Neil Ferrier in front. Of course, the winner from the opening round of the USF 2000 Championship. And he's now, of course, returning in the TCR. But really close up front, Kevin. But it seems Wayne Douglas seems to be the cork in the bottle for the rest of these guys behind.
Yeah, absolutely. Wayne's holding him up slightly. Thanks, Jack, for jumping in there. As you can hear, we have audio issues. I'm hearing that we're not able to hear the cars on track. I will. I can attempt to do the sound of an RS3 if you like in the background while Jack does the commentary, but I think you'd probably rather wait for Niall to fix things. Yeah, and Wayne kind of dropping off there, but that's the thing about Donington. It does, if you're brave, you can get in there, but it's about picking your moments because the cars are really on the edge of aero here, and it's it really needs to be you have to be absolutely assured of what you're doing. So Navi, I try to see who it is behind Wayne Douglas at the moment, who's being held slightly up. It's Dave Maguire, and behind him is Keith Dempsey and then Jason Smith. So a lot of quick guys there, but for Jason and Dave, it's just a case of picking your moment, perhaps going into the two hairpins, particularly the last hairpin before we go into the next lap. But as you say, yeah, Wayne just holding everybody up, but he's doing well. He's putting the car in the right places. He's making himself very wide, as that's Keith Dempsey, it looks like, took a very wide line through that chicane. Be interesting to see if there's a slowdown on his part, because I think that could come into this race as well.
Yeah, as we see swapping places there's a big old scrap between Keith, Denning and Smith. All those guys are scrapping it out for P4 at the moment. Dempsey drops back from Maguire. Maguire's on his own now, following Wayne Douglas, who we're on board with at the moment. Of course, Wayne plenty of experience around the circuit. He's the team principal of Douglas Motorsport to compete in British F3. There's a couple of cars coming out of pit lane right in the path of the leaders right there, and we've had Brian McManus drop down the order, and I would imagine I've seen him drop down the timing order, but fortunately I can't quite see on my end what has happened to him as we come back to live pictures right now.
Sorry, Jack, to cut across you. We were just, that's exactly what happened to Brian McManus. He just got tagged there. I couldn't see who it was because I was trying to sort myself out as we see somebody going off there to the left of Wayne Douglas. I think that might be a lapped car. It was Brian was going into the corner, just got tagged going into the second to last hairpin in the GP section, got spun around, and now he finds himself quite a bit far back. We're on board now with Jason Cooper, the leader. He's heading into what would be, you can see the DRS boards, but heading into the chicane here at Donington Park. And as we say, we're using the GP circuit here at Donington. We're not using the Indy circuit that they normally use in the BTCC. This is a slightly extended circuit, I suppose, given the fact it's a 55 car grid. It makes sense. But Jason still leading the way. Navi Hussein hot on his heels, less than 0.3 of a second now between them, as Alex Denning now goes for a move down the inside. Is he going to overtake 2 and 1? I think he is, as Denning now up into 5th place. And he's going to try and have a go for another place. I think that's Keith Dempsey in front of Alex, just settles in ahead of him. Alex taking down the inside line there. And as I said, that chicane is a great opportunity for overtakes, as it's getting very, very tight there. I thought Alex is going to get tagged by Wayne Douglas behind him. But as we say, Wayne now back in sixth, that bottle firmly uncorked, and it'll be interesting to see now whether Keith and David can start making up time on the leading two.
Yeah, Maguire's got a 1.4 second lead. That was a lovely move from Keith Dempsey. At the same time, sent it around the outside of that hairpin, around the outside of Wayne. Now Wayne's dropped into the clutches of Paul King, who's a new name in this series. I just want to give a quick thanks to James Holman, who's helped me out with what class Michael Seal is, and he is in the Pro-Am category, which means Sean McGovern is your leader in the Pro-Am category at the moment. Michael Seal second, Owen Murray third in that class at the moment. The pro guys are all up there in the top 15 and 16th, of course, is your Pro-Am leader. Lap 6 of 10 in this, so we're easily going to get under the time limit. There's your two leaders, 3.5 seconds in front of David Maguire and Jason Cooper and Naveed Hussein, definitely the ones to watch. But of course, remember, they'll be starting further down the order in race number 2 if they keep it this up and remain in their current positions. But Naveed, he's had a bit of a long absence from the scene. He gets super close to Jason Cooper on the brakes. How close can you get on the brakes? Naveed Hussein, I think that might have been a bit of a scary moment for him. He might have slightly misjudged the braking point, and maybe a panic stamp on the brake from Naveed Navid Hussein, but he's putting him under massive pressure out front.
Yeah, and that's the sort of thing that when you're driving, you know, Jason will have a half an eye on the mirror, and he just sees Navid closing up to him, and it does mean you do slightly take your eye off the ball. Now, these guys are far better drivers than but I think given under that pressure that Navid is putting Jason on, if I was racing in an official race, I'd just let Navid go, because it's you're just asked, you know, obviously I'm not saying that Jason should do that in this circumstance, but when a guy gets so close to you there, as you see another, that's Evan Naylor down the back. It looks like he's going to be overtaken by Aaron Dalton that was around Goddard's and down the Wheatcross Straight. But yeah, as I was saying, when you see a guy get that close to you from behind it, you just tend to keep that eye drifting towards the mirror all that time. And it'll be interesting to see now whether Jason does make a mistake off the back of Navid getting so close to him as they head up into Coppice. And I love that corner Coppice. It's a blind apex. You come up over the hill and you're kind of half guessing. Well, for these guys you're not, especially with the TCR cars. You get that car nice and early and try and balance. It's a case of kind of trying to balance the car with the TCR cars. It's not just like GT3 where you have front end grip. A lot of that, the cars almost feel like they're back end heavy. They swing back around, and Navid now getting close, but I don't think he'd be quite close enough to have a go down the Melbourne hairpin.
No, he's not going to go for it right now. I think he's going to leave it quite late to go for this move. Jason Cooper controlling things. They're 3.5 seconds clear of David Maguire. That gap kind of fluctuating between that and 3.7 seconds. Keith Dempsey still holding 1.2 back from Dave Maguire. Alex Denning in behind him. Douglas still following in P6 as Paul King gets past Jason Smith for 7th. And we come across the start-finish line to begin another lap, and you can see the difference in the times. 37.3 for Cooper. Then you look back, about 3/10 consistently faster, these guys, by about 3/10 per lap. So really good stuff. This is 3 abreast into turn 1. It's Evan Walsh around the outside. Niall Murray goes around the outside as well. Jason Smith carrying some front end damage by the looks of it on that car. Yeah, you can definitely see a bit of dirt in the front grille, but Evan Walsh on the climb right now up to P8. He goes, and Niall Murray following him. Next up, Rory O'Shea. He fancies himself to go into the top 10 as Evan goes off the road as soon as I mention him, and he comes back onto the circuit, rejoins in P12 just in front of Meredith, and he'll now have to try and make up those positions once again. And now he's got less and less time to do it. But 2 laps to go and we come across the line. Navid Hussein still sticking behind Jason Cooper, still not thinking about an overtake, but I think he's going to leave it quite late here, Kevin.
Yeah, and you got to remember as well, Jack, that these guys know they're quick. They're one of the highest qualifiers. The pre-qualifying, they've been kind of quick all through this championship, as we see Rory O'Shea now. Nice little bat between him and Jason Smith going through the Fogarty S's, and Rory gets the better of Jason there. Liam Matthews also trying to get in there. Evan Walsh making up places, and I'll talk about Evan in a second because a massive achievement in that car. Of course, the VRA Racing TCR car with the Nuremberg 24 hours that we had last month, but I'll talk about that later on. But yeah, as you say, it's just fantastic to see all these cars here, and a quick shout out as well to Lawrence de Soswa, who says he wants his daughter to get to bed so that he can watch it. And Lawrence put up I think a fairly terrifying 3D sort of render texture of his face that he's managed to import into Assetto Corsa, which I think shows us all that you're probably better off leaving the helmet on, really.
That's in my nightmares now, Lawrence. That image is come down the Craner curves. Really lovely side by side action. This one, Liam Matthews trying to fend off O'Shea. Evan Walsh coming back up through the order, bit wide from Matthews that time. Nicky Meredith, sneaking up the inside of Evan Walsh through the old hairpin, and Evan Walsh spears off the road. Just saw the tail end of that. He's speared into the wall on the eggs of the old hairpin. We're going to stick with these guys for now. Jason Cooper is still trying to hang on versus Navid Hussein. There's 1 lap to go across the line. These guys have absolutely gone away from the guys. Little mistake from Cooper through their little rear end slide, but he manages to catch it. The Hussein gets very very close to the back of Cooper. Looks to the inside. Does he go for it? No. Shows himself in the mirrors. Tiny bit defensive from Cooper on the way in. But this will be the final lap of the first race of the evening. Remember, the top 15 inverted in this race. And of course, we've also got a battle for the lead in the Pro-Am category. We've got to keep an eye on that as this happens as well. Michael Seal and Sean McGovern are battling for the lead in Pro-Am. We're going to come across the line for this last lap. White flag waves on this first race of the evening. You can see the background battle going on, and that was Wayne Douglas sending up the inside of Alex Denning. He takes P5. Sticking with the leaders though, Jason Cooper trying to get himself a win in the first race of the championship. Douglas is clear. Denning's going to launch it up the inside in turn 1. Easy move from him, and Douglas didn't really fight that. Back with the top 2, we will come into the old hairpin. Hussein watching and waiting to go for his overtake. Cooper will kind of know where he needs to defend and where he needs to keep his car defending that apex, defending that line. And we will see who will take the first honours of the championship. Will it be the returning Naveed Hussein or the long-term competitor Jason Cooper? Up and over the top of the hill they will come, and we will see. Will Hussein get the run through this part of the circuit? This is where he needs to be really strong, and the chicane that's coming up in just a second. Down towards the chicane they'll come. Cooper has a bit of an advantage coming down here, but it's crucial that he gets the chicane right. Throws it into the chicane. Hussein needs the run through here. Will he get it? I don't think he's quite got it. I think Cooper's just about got this. Lovely run from Cooper, and he will stay in front of Hussein unless he makes a mistake. Into this hairpin they will come. Hussein watching to try and see if he can find a gap up towards the last corner, trying to get a switchback line, but Cooper's done a great job in that last sector to open the gap out to 0.5 of a second, and Hussein not going to launch an attack as we come round the last corner. The opening honours of the championship will go to Jason Cooper. He wins race 1 in Donington. Naveed Hussein on his return is P2, and Dave Maguire will take P3, moving the last corner. Look at this, Douglas shoving Alex Denning as they head towards line, bumping doors. Who's going to get there? Douglas gets there by 2/200 of a second. Paul King is 7th, Niall Murray is 8th, Liam Matthews and Nicky Mary that come across the line, and we'll have to see. I think it should be Sean McGovern who will take the Pro-Am victory, his first victory. He will take the P1 in the Pro-Am category, and Dave Collier will take 2nd, and Noel Murray in P3. But class of the field, Kevin, Jason Cooper and Naveed Hussein, 4 seconds.
Yeah, a massive gap between the two of them. But I think for Wayne Douglas, or sorry, should I say not for Wayne Douglas, for Jason Cooper, that's a huge psychological win, I think, for Jason, because these two are going to be battling up here. We expect for the duration of the championship, and for Jason to be able to hold off Naveed, despite the fact that he's got made a few tiny mistakes, one on the Fogarty S's, one even coming out of Goddard's there in one of those laps, just a slightly, Naveed got a slightly better exit, but Jason is a huge psychological advantage, I think, for Jason to be able to win this opening heat, first race of 12, of course, in the iDMC spring season. But what a brilliant race, battling all over the field. A really nice battle between Wayne and Alex Denning, and a bit of contact there between Nicky Meredith and Evan Walsh, which saw the Clonmel man go off, which was a pity because he was running fairly well up until he made that mistake. He put the kibosh on him, Jack. But what a brilliant opening race of this iDMC spring season, and I just love the TCR cars. They just really encourage close racing, wheel to wheel. You get the elbows out, guys get competitive, and but all in the spirit of good racing. What a great opening race that was.
Yeah, so a quick run through the results. It's Cooper who wins, Hussein 2nd, Dave Maguire returns to the podium, great job, Keith Dempsey P4, Douglas 5th, Denning, King, Murray, Matthews and Merritt the top 10, and Sean McGovern takes the win in the Pro-Am category. You can see him there in P15 with the blue stripe next to his name, and he will also take the pole position for this next race with the reverse grid. We're just in the warm-up now, and we'd like to take this opportunity, of course, to thank our sponsors, SimTag, as well, returning as the sponsor of iDMC with their brilliant hydraulic pedals. SimuCube as well, as always, great partners to have on board with their wonderful direct drive wheels. Make sure to check them out. And a new partner on board for this season, Grid Engineering, of course, with the fantastic dashes, wheels, and custom button boxes. Make sure to give those guys a quick check out. They are from Canada, so from across the water, and providing some fantastic equipment as well. But we want to pay a particular attention this week to a wonderful pillar of motorsport that has unfortunately had an awful diagnosis of a brain tumor. Of course, we're talking about Barry Barable. Barry, of course, he actually raced in the Digital-Motorsports Porsche Cup a while ago, and had unfortunately been diagnosed with a horrible condition, brain tumor. And he's currently, of course, got a GoFundMe going. A massive thank you to his wife, Neve. We're sending all our love out to Neve and the family as they try to raise money to send Barry abroad to get the treatment that he needs. So the GoFundMe link is in the link in the description down below. They've currently raised €35,000 for him. We've got a goal of €50,000 to go get that treatment over in the UK. So please, if you've got any money to spare, make sure to visit the GoFundMe link and give anything you can to help a wonderful man, Pillar Motorsport, and also our former racer here at Digital Motorsport. We're sending all our support out to the Barables, and as I said before, any extra balance as well, if we go over the €50,000 mark, the rest will be donated to brain tumour charities. So make sure to visit that. If you have got any money to spare, make sure to do it. We want to give all our support out to him at this really tough time, especially during COVID. But on a slightly lighter note, of course, we have got another prize up for grabs this season, as we did last season. For all of you at home this evening, we're giving away another set of SimTag 2 Racer pedals. So if you'd like to win a set of those, make sure to comment your driver of the day in the comments section after this stream has gone live, and of course we'll be picking the winner at the end of the season. So that's all we are going to be doing in this warm-up. We're getting ready for race 2. Sean McGovern on pole, Jason Smith and Peter McCann, Ronan Doherty, the first of the pros, in 3rd and 4th, Rory O'Shea 5th, Nicky Meredith, Liam Matthews, Niall Murray, Paul King and Alex Denning. Then it's Wayne Douglas, Keith Dempsey, Dave McGuire, Naveed Hussain and Jason Cooper. That's your reverse grid for this one. And then Tony Stack, Adam Dowling, Evan Walsh. And then Dave Collier is the second Pro-Am, so he's miles down compared to Sean McGovern, who's starting on pole. As a Pro-Am, that must be a bit intimidating, Kevin.
Yeah, perhaps, but I suppose a lot of the guys around him, Jason Smith, Peter McCann, okay, quick guys, undoubtedly. But for Sean McGovern, as I say, there isn't a huge amount of difference between the Pro-Ams and the pros. So Sean will be hoping that he can get himself, make himself as wide as possible. And I suppose any result for him, anything in the top 10 would be a brilliant result for him.
Yeah, here we go, ready to go for race 2, and away we go. Good start from Sean McGovern this time as they head towards turn 1. Jason Smith slots in behind him. Good start from Rory O'Shea from the second row of the grid. He moves up to P4. Matthews tries to get the jump on them as they head towards turn 1. McGovern leads. We've got a car off in the background. That I couldn't quite see who that was going sideways across the grass. It's getting really, really hectic in turn 1. That was Alex Denning on the outside, banging doors with another car. We couldn't quite see who it was, but what a storming start from Naveed Hussain, up to 9th place already, and has jumped 3 cars in front of Jason Cooper off the start alone. He started 14th, he's up to 9th. Now here comes Jason Smith straight past Sean McGovern. He's just trying to get the Pro-Am lead, of course. Here's Peter McCann, he goes up the inside as well and takes 2nd place. So we've got 15 laps coming up of this feature race this evening, but Naveed Hussain, absolutely rapid start. You can actually see him in the background. He gets past Paul King, 8th place, up from 14th, 6 places in 1 lap.
Yeah, brilliant start for Naveed Hussain, and we talked about it in the USF 2000s as well. I really, really like this format where we have the reverse grid at the start, because it's all very, it's a bit like the Lewis Hamilton thing, right? It's all very well qualifying first, setting off into the sun, and then not having to battle. That's a bit of miscommunication there, I think, between Evan Walsh and Keith Dempsey. Evan keeps his place for the moment. I think Keith was expecting Evan to chop across him more. That's a turn. I could see that happening a long time away. That is Nicky Meredith getting touched by Naveed Hussain. So it'll be interesting to see what the stewards have to say about that. Naveed coming from a distance. We saw him come close to Jason Cooper in the original race on that corner, that Melbourne hairpin, but he tagged Nicky Meredith there in that one. So interesting to see what happens there. Jason Cooper up into 9th. We see Ronan Doherty falling down through the standings as well. We see 5 abreast going down the Wheatcroft Straight. So close, and I really enjoy this format. It really encourages close racing. It forces guys to show their racecraft skills and not just to be able to hot lap after lap. And it means that, you know, you've really close racing as Nicky Meredith falls further down the list. I'm not sure whether he pitted or whether he's had another issue. That's unfortunate for Nicky because you know, he's brilliant competitor in these series all the times. But Jason Smith leading at the moment, and Peter McCann for VRA Racing in second. And Sean McGovern certainly not slow by any means. A good second gap between himself and Roy O'Shea in third place. And Sean, if he could keep himself at the podium for the next 13 laps, that'll be an absolutely fantastic finish and would have a massive dent on the Pro-Am standings quite early on in the season.
Yeah, because he's the only Pro-Am that we can actually see in this list in the top 20. So a really good job from Sean McGovern so far. Naveed Hussain is up to 6th place. He's actually nearly on the back of that train. That's that white and red Audi. You can see poking out in the back. Actually, not the white and red Audi, but on the back of that train of 6 cars we've got going. Jason Smith sits second. Sean McGovern is actually going to have a go at Peter McCann. Back at him again. The outside line for Sean into the break. It's over the hairpin. McCann will hold the inside as they head through, and McCann will hold on to that place. But Jason Smith getting a small gap now over the guys behind. McCann's having to go defensive on Sean McGovern. Liam Matthews in P4. He's actually going to launch it. McGovern on the inside of the last corner launches up the inside and takes the position from Peter McCann. It's a great job for the Pro-Am driver. He sits now in 2nd place. Big battle's going on further down. That's Ronan Doherty. Fabrizio Rivera. Fabrizio, of course, returning to the series. Ronan Doherty's going to head to pit lane, as is Alex Denning coming into the pits right now. Here's Naveed Hussain up to P5, and he's got past Rory O'Shea, fast lap of the race, and now he's immediately on the back of Liam Matthews down the Craner curves on his return to the iDMC. Was racing back when it was the VRA Championship, but now rebranded with iDMC, and now he's got up at the inside, and Matthews gets up alongside him on the outside. We'll just switch to the inside for the next corner, and he's already passed and through up to 4. Jason Cooper's still in P10 at the moment, so Hussain is on an absolute flyer there. Matthews gets really close to his side pod there as they head through, but Hussain is on a massive charge, and surely he can sense a win here.
Yeah, insane driving, I think you could say, from Naveed. And it's so intimidating when you have a guy like him, you know, that was already won the first race. You know that. You know he's qualified first, or not qualified first, but you know he's qualified in the, you know, second, and he's an extremely quick guy. Is Naveed, and he's proving it again here as we see a big dive out there from Hussain to try and make a move on Sean McGovern. I think he's going to get that move done as Naveed, and now he's into 3rd place. And we talk about driver of the day, it's already hard to see past this guy. Started way back and has made up an enormous amount of places, has Naveed Hussain, up now 11 places, the fastest mover behind Brian McManus, who's up 19th in the race. And Sean McGovern battles back there. That's against Liam Matthews, I think, to keep his spot in 4th place. Peter McCann just commenting in the last lap when he was battling off Sean McGovern, as Naveed now goes past Peter into 2nd place. Peter doing his best James Dean impression there through the chicane, through the Fogarty S's, because he kind of lost the back in the first corner and then managed to catch it, but kind of went sideways through the second part of the chicane. As we're on board now with Adam Dowling, he's Dan Mould in front of him, and a bit of a gap there. Unfortunate as well to see Evan Walsh spear off another VRA racing competitor. Of course, he's very, you know, it was a fantastic achievement for VRA. Jordan Kelly, Evan, Brian McManus, Ronan Hedman, and Adam Dowling, of course, winning the down under split, if you want, of the Nuremberg 24. But now that he's the right way up, he seems to be struggling in this championship on UK soil.
Yeah, unfortunate for Evan, as Sean McGovern loses a spot to Liam Matthews, but doesn't lose a spot in class. He's fighting with the pros, and that's more than he should be doing. Rory O'Shea fancies a chance to get past now on the inside for the chicane. Looks up the inside. McGovern opens the door, has to really correct on the way in, but he does let him past and is safe. Jason Smith, though, still in control. He is the overall leader. He is in the pro category as well, so this is for position, and now he's got the massive task of trying to keep Naveed Hussain behind. But now you can actually see what the guys are actually planning to do. I think McCann not really fighting Hussain that time. I think he's going to try and use him to drag himself up to the back of the leader at the moment. We're going to have start lap 5 of 15. Jason Smith in first, Naveed Hussain is second, McCann is third, Matthews is 4th and Rory O'Shea's P5. There's the fastest lap. Well, it was the fastest lap for Jason Smith. It's a personal best for him, but it was Naveed Hussain who was 0.4 of a second faster on that lap alone. So really quick from him. Jason Cooper not making up as many places as Naveed has. He's up to P9 though, is Jason Cooper, on the back of Keith Dempsey at the moment in P9. And they're both chasing the car of Dave Maguire, who sits in 7th place. But Jason Smith still at the head of the field. He's still got track position, which is key. And he seems to be relatively on the pace as well, albeit 0.4 off the pace of Naveed Hussain. But Naveed's got to catch up to him first and then try to pass him, which is going to be another task. Wayne Douglas had to tow back to pit lane. That's why he's showing at the top of the timing tower. And he will not have a good finish to this one. But in Pro-Am, it's Sean McGovern. Dave Collier sits 2nd, and Simon Wall lies 3rd in that one. But if Sean isn't too careful, he could, if he's keeping pace with the pro guys, he might be careful that he might not end up getting promoted up to pro.
Well, I don't think that's going to happen quite for the moment, considering he started first on the grid. But nonetheless, I think people watching, if you're not watching the action, I think your eyes should be glued to the interval time. Nixon and Naveed Hussain's left, just second from the top here now on the timing tree. That gap was around 1.4 seconds at the beginning of the lap. It's now down to about a second. And as things go, and about 2 more times we'll pass here, we should see what happens as Jason has a car coming out of the pits ahead of him. I can't see who that was, but they're going to have to make way for blue flags. Hopefully lap traffic won't be an issue here. But yeah, that gap is already down now, just through Redgate and Hollywood. It's down another 0.05 of a second. So Naveed is making huge time here, and Jason will be aware of that as well, as we see another Jason Cooper in 10th. He won the opening race, and I said it was a big psychological advantage. It still is, because there's a huge difference between finishing 1st and 2nd in these championships, more so than any other position. It looks like Jason's almost bump drafting Niall Murray as they go through the Schwartz curve into McLean's. He's getting so close, but the pressure will be on now, Jason, to try and make up some of that time and make up some places to get closer. He's up 5 places, of course, already, as Naveed Hussain now. The gap is 0.6 of a second already. It'll be down to around 0.5 expected to be when they cross the line. And for Jason, I think he probably knows that it's only a matter of time before Naveed takes him. I can imagine it'll probably be here at the Melbourne hairpin. It seems to be an area where Naveed Hussain does like to make the move. So I wouldn't be surprised to see the move get done there. If not the next lap, probably the lap after that.
Yeah, he's getting super close. It seems to be this last sector, as he said, he's very strong through here. Brings the gap down to 0.3 of a second. That's Wayne Douglas who moves out of the way for these guys. And they come across the start lap 7 of 15. So it seems inevitable that Naveed Hussain's going to get his way through. And you can see, look at the time difference, 0.7 of a second, a lap faster than the man in front, Peter McConnell, a personal best. But he's absolutely blitzing everybody here as Naveed Hussain on his return to the Digital-Motorsports Championship. He's a long-time competitor, but took a break before he came back on the scene. He's back with a bang. He's finished 2nd in race 1 and is now already back up to 2nd after starting 14th in race 2 and is fighting for the win in this race. And it's fantastic to see him immediately on the pace, and it's not the same faces every time smashing the field. Smith a little bit wide through the top of the hill right there. That'll cost him momentum as they come up to the hill, and you'll see now he'll get right up underneath him as they head through the right-hander. This is where he's very strong. Jason Cooper, of course, still sticking on the back of Niall Murray as they chase after McGovern and all those guys there. But we're now sticking with Jason Smith. You'll see that Hussein's right on the tail of him into the chicane. And now he's got to hold that inside. That's wide on the way in. It'll cost him momentum. He's gone a bit deep there. And this might cost... Yeah, this might cost him here. He's going defensive into the hairpin. He's going to force the video and dummies to the inside. Hussain launches it on the inside. Smith doesn't hold it. And a lovely overtake from Naveed Hussain. Brave. And he sold the dummy to Jason Smith. He leads. And now he's surely going to leave everyone for dead out there. Lovely move.
Yeah, really nice. And to be fair to Jason, he did everything he could to try to cover the inside. I don't know what I would have just left Navid go by, given the fact that he is 4 tenths quicker over the course of the lap, or 5 tenths quicker over the course of the lap. But really did try and make that as small as possible. But for Navid, supreme work switching back to the inside. He's just so comfortable into that corner and through that section. So much more comfortable than Jason is, and so much more comfortable than to give Jason credit. A lot of the field there, as that looks like Liam Matthews got a better exit. Now he's going to overtake Peter McCann down the Kramer curves, and McCann has Rory O'Shea closing down on him as well. He's going to switch back to the inside as they head towards Starkey's, the old airpin here, and that's Matthews getting. There's really only one line through there, given the aero capability of these cars, and Matthews getting the line there, but Peter McCann's coming back at him, and again, really nice battling all up and down the grid in a way that we didn't really get to see with the USF 2000s. We did see some battling, but there's no way you'd be able to see cars battling the way we are, and that's Rory O'Shea trying a little nibble down the inside as they go towards Coppice. I'm not entirely sure how clever that would have been, but it looks like O'Shea's got the run now on McCann, even though McCann will have the inside line through the Fogarty S's. He's going to switch down the inside is Rory O'Shea, probably not going to get it under braking. Really, really nice battle, switching back and forward all these cars. Just fantastic racing with another 7 laps to go.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant. So to be fair to Jason, he's sticking with Hussein out front. He's not letting him get away that easily. He's still within the draft, which is absolutely key to staying with it. But it's always just that these last 2 corners where Navid is so strong. Still, we stick with this battle. Liam Matthews, of course, remember, he was in the Pro-Am category of the USF 2000. Now he's up into the Pro category in the TCRs, and he's now up into a podium position in this race. These guys battling for third place. The podium battle. Matthews has a small lead now. There's Dave Maguire looking up the inside of Rory O'Shea to turn 1, forces him a little bit wide, and Maguire now gets a run out of the first corner down to the Craner curves. Will he be able to pull alongside? Rory's leaving him just enough room to find some space. Maguire has to back out with the inside very strong through the Craner curves into the old hairpin. That's Keith Dempsey on the back of these guys as well, down in 7th place. But he's still right in there is Keith Dempsey, and he's a former champion in these TCR cars all the way back a year or 2 ago. As Maguire, he's going to tap the back of O'Shea, front wheel drive, keep your foot in it, and they stay going. Keith Dempsey's going to try and pick up 2 places here in this one. Launches up the inside of Maguire at the top of the hill. Maguire leaves him, and there's door-to-door contact, but they keep going. This is why we love these cars. And Dempsey moves up to P5, but O'Shea gets the double run. He gets past Maguire, and now he's going to try and get back Dempsey. Dempsey holds the inside. We'll just switch to the outside for the chicane. There's contact again on the way through, sliding his way through Maguire. O'Shea gets back up underneath him again as they head towards the hairpin. Maguire goes defensive to the inside. He's maybe going to let Rory O'Shea try to come round the outside of him. Cooper's watching this in the background. There he is, just behind Rory O'Shea. Mental stuff, but you could see the door banging and all the rubber is racing at these TCR cars. You could not have done that in a USF 2000 car, that's for sure.
There'd be wheels flying all over Donington Park, somewhere near East Midlands Airport. I think some of those USF 2000 wheels would end up here. But that's contact between teammates, no. The VRA teammates. That's Brian McManus and Adam Dowling getting their wires crossed, and McCann plowing into Dowling. Now they've both recovered, and I was going to say it's an absolute Christmas miracle that Rory O'Shea managed to avoid that. He got tapped from the back and then got another tap from the front from Dave, or was it Dave Maguire, I think, in that one. And it's just so close, these guys. They're very close on pace. They're really super aggressive. They know they can be super aggressive in these cars. They're trying to get off to the best start as possible, but of course you're playing jeopardy because there's no drop weeks. You've got to try and make as many points as you can, and you can't afford to get off on the wrong foot. So brilliant stuff. That gap now from Navid Hussein to Jason Smith is over a second. Liam Matthews 4 seconds back. But for Jason Cooper, I think actually just watching these battles as well also puts into context the achievement of Navid getting through all this craziness, all this close battling, staying clean and working his way up to the front. It really supreme driving from Hussein, as we see Keith Dempsey now and Dave Maguire, I think, going down into the Melbourne hairpin. It'll be interesting. Maguire now has the inside line. Can he hold it? He keeps it. And I think Keith Dempsey's going to have to settle back into 6th place. He's going to try and move around the outside into the final hairpin in Goddard's, but I think Maguire has the inside line for that one, even though he did go a little bit deep into the corner. And that's not Wayne Douglas, but Jason Cooper just being slightly held up here, and he's getting increasingly frustrated, I imagine. Jason Cooper back here now in 8th position behind all these training cars, because he sees Hussein disappearing off into the distance, and he knows what difference it makes on the points tally for the championship. As we go on board with Peter McCann, who, to be fair, has done a great job of maintaining that 4th position, and now has a 1.6 second gap to Dave Maguire behind.
Yeah, as well. So he's keeping that maintained. Peter McCann is very, very close to a podium here. Is McCann, as we see Paul King, a new face in the iDMC, trying to get a double top 10. He's fighting with Sean McGovern, who's in the Pro-Am lead, of course. And next in line in Pro-Am is Dave Collier. So McGovern's got a pretty comfortable lead as it stands. It stands at about 10 seconds roughly as we head through these last few laps. But Naveed Hussain opens the gap to a 1.5 seconds over Jason Smith, who has been really impressive. To be fair to Jason, he's still 4.8 seconds in front of Liam Matthews and is doing a great job in P2. But this is Keith Dempsey, Rory O'Shea in the background. Jason Cooper might be able to get past Rory here. You can see he got a great run out of the chicane. Will he go for the overtake in the hairpin? He's looking, showing himself in the mirrors, but no, he doesn't go for it. And Maguire still holds P5. These guys trying to catch up to the battle for 3rd, but they're running out of time as it stands. There's not many laps left in this race, and we've only got 15 laps, of course, in this one. But of course, here's Hussain, 13 places up from where he started. He started 14th, is now in the lead, and there's McGovern moving out of the way, I think, of Paul King, and he moves up to P9 as Paul into the top of the top 10, and Pro-Am leader holds 10th place overall, which is not bad at all for Sean. Just needs to keep the pace up, and if he doesn't make a mistake, he's going to go for the double win in Pro-Am, which would be an achievement.
A massive achievement, and Sean knows that. You can see he's playing the percentages. He knows this isn't his type of race. He's not battling these guys. He has a nice, comfy, almost 5, 6 or 7 second advantage to Dave Collier in 2nd place in the Pro-Ams, and knows that this will be a perfect start for him. 2 wins from 2 in the Pro-Am. Dave Collier, of course, doing well as well, so that'll be an interesting battle in the Pro-Am side of things. But for Sean, he's done well. He started off well, kept pace with Jason Smith for a while, but just played his cards right, just made sure he stayed out of trouble, didn't get involved in any unnecessary battles, and it could probably be a case of strategy now, more using his head more so than his heart to guide him into 1st place. Jason Cooper, now this is a man who will be under pressure. I've said it once or twice before, but Jason will be under pressure now to try and get a move on. He tries a move down the inside of Rory O'Shea. I wondered, did Rory get a slowdown there, as Jason's going to try and move down the inside here to take 7th position. He's going to make that happen. Rory's going to give him the position, hoping that he'll try and get him on the exit. But for Jason now, 7th isn't bad, but so he'll need something a little bit better as that. That's a nice battle down the end towards Enda Farrell and Brendan Stone. Enda going through the coppice there, and Brendan now has Stuart Brereton as well with him. He's a new name that I haven't seen before. So Brendan losing out in that one overall, but some nice battling up and down the grid. And just seeing even just the comments on YouTube, just how much people are getting into this TCR battle. These cars are brilliant. As I say, I'd love to see a little bit more variety as opposed to seeing an entire grid of Audis, although I do own one myself. But it would be nice to see some variety in the TCR class, but it just promotes door-to-door racing. Rubbing is racing, and you can't do that in the USF 2000. And like I say, this track and car combination, just chef's kiss.
Yeah, that's one way to describe it. And thankfully, we're sticking with UK tracks as well. So we're basically using tracks that are absolutely made for touring cars. We've got Donington this week, of course, and we'll be progressing through 6 different tracks in this calendar. Here's Peter McCann. He'd love to get a podium in the first race of the championship. And now Dave Maguire and Keith Dempsey are bearing down on Liam Matthews. He's trying to get himself on the podium in the Pro class for the first time as well, and he's got some really fast guys behind him on his debut in the Pro class. McCann, Maguire and Dempsey. Maguire slightly defensive and also trying to show himself in the mirrors. Jason Cooper is just coming over the hill in the background, and he's latching on, or trying to latch on to these guys. 2 laps to go across the start-finish line, and we will see, can Navid Hussain hang on to a win? Maguire's looking up the inside of McCann. He leaves him room, and Maguire, that's one dispatched, and he goes through with a great overtake on Peter McCann. Very fair racing as they're towards turn 1. McCann just settles in behind, leaves him the space, and Maguire now fancies a podium in his first race in the TCRs. Of course, he took a win. He was the surprise winner in the opening round of the iDMC USF 2000 Championship, and he's showing that his pace has transferred into the TCRs.
Yeah, massively. Dave had a real breakout season, I think, the iDMC winter season. Although, mind you, as Sean Murphy, the snooker player, once said, you see overnight success. Well, behind that overnight success, there's been years and years of work, and I suppose Dave probably feels the same, that he's always been quick, but he's just been able to show it now. But yeah, it's such a great battle down here. Keith Dempsey in 6th position. He's up 6 places, but again, Keith, you know, I was talking to him last year ahead of the USF 2000s. He was saying he's just not on pace. He has been disappointed over the course of last season as well. And these guys are just so quick. A brilliant result for Jason Smith. It will be, as we see, a move now. Liam Matthews as Dave Maguire to contend with. Dave has just gotten past Peter McCann. Of course, I love that shot. That is an absolutely superb shot of those cars rolling through the S's and down towards the Melbourne hairpin. Interesting to see now whether we see a move down here. There's a move. It looks like Peter McCann going down the inside of Dave Maguire, should I say, going down the inside of Liam Matthews into 3rd position. So Dave has taken a podium position with just 1 lap to go.
Yeah, really close as they head into the last corner, nearly 3 abreast. Matthews tries to get Maguire back. Maguire is through. Oh, tap in the back from McCann. Matthews gets it almost sent around. He keeps his foot in the front wheel drive and gets back going again. But Dempsey's in the pit lane now, possibly a drive-through penalty for Dempsey. But McCann just got a little bit wrong and went into the back of Matthews. O'Shea will capitalise and go through into 6th place. Little unfortunate for Matthews there, and Maguire's up into the podium spot. But look who's nearly on the verge of getting P4. Cooper's gone through that, and he's up to 5th, Jason Cooper. So he's been really on the low this race, but there he is on the back of McCann. McCann's gone wide, and that'll be P4 for Jason Cooper in the last lap. Great job from Jason, great recovery from 15th. O'Shea trying to get past in the top 5. Matthews goes through as well. Paul King on his debut trying to get through as well on McCann, and he finds some room on the inside of the top of the hill through McLean's. There will go. You have to shove him to the inside. King won't get through, and he'll have to stick behind. But McCann, this podium slips away from McCann. But coming to the last few corners, we'll have to wait to see a returning man on his debut. What an absolutely brilliant drive from this man. A couple of seasons out of the iDMC Championship. He raced back when it was in the VRA, Virtual Race Academy series, but has returned on form, and he's now about to come through the last corner. It was Jason Cooper in race 1, but the opening feature race of the iDMC TCR Championship goes to the return of Navid Hussain, who comes to the last corner. He wins the feature race at Donington on return, 14th up to the lead. Jason Smith, commendable effort in P2, and Dave Maguire will take 3rd place in this race. Great return, and a run to the line between O'Shea and Matthews. Who's going to get there first? Super close, but O'Shea gets there for P5. Jason Cooper recovers to 4th, McCann in 7th, and Sean McGovern does the double in the Pro-Am. He wins both races and takes P10 as well. Brilliant stuff. Dave Collier 2nd in Pro-Am, and Simon Wall on the podium in Pro-Am as well takes 3rd. But Navid, what can you say? Everyone was saying how quick he was in the pre-qualifying. He's displayed that now, 14th up to the lead. Nobody could stop him.
Yeah, what brilliant driving from Hussain. Late touch there. That was a dive from deep from Ronan Fox on Brendan Stone, and he gets touched again. Oh, Brendan must be wondering what he's done to deserve that. Gets hammered into the chicane, and then once again coming out of the chicane, he gets smacked again. Does Brendan Stone? That's a real disappointment. But for Naveed Hussain, really, really good stuff from him. Couldn't quite find a way past Jason Cooper in the first race, but a brilliant drive from Naveed Hussain. I mean, outstanding stuff to come back from where he was through a very, very competitive grid, a very aggressively racing grid as well with the TCR cars, to work his way through that grid up into first place. A brilliant drive from Naveed Hussain at a 3-second advantage at the head as well. He's just so quick. And you were saying to me, surely Jason Cooper, he's won it before, he's the quickest qualifier, he's top of the list, you'd surely back him for the championship. But Naveed Hussain, as you say, a man who's been out of the championship a while, has come back in. What a return to the iDMC series for Naveed Hussain. And I think this Cooper Hussain battle is far from over. I'm really, really looking forward to this TCR championship. So a couple of really interesting tracks we have coming up. Sadly, Jack, this is the last UK track of the season. I would love to have seen Oulton Park, because Oulton Park is another one that I just love associating with TCR cars. But a brilliant opening round. And what else do you expect from the TCR cars and Donington Park?
Absolutely. I do want to apologise for saying it was a whole UK series. In the initial concept, it was supposed to be an all UK series, but we've gone global this time. I'm so used to staying in the one country, but we're heading to Imola next time. Wonderful circuit for those. So we've got 6 different tracks. We're heading to Imola next, and then across to the US for the Charlotte Roval circuit. That's an interesting pick, and I actually quite like it. Nürburgring then to Zolder, and then finishing off the championship in Hockenheim. So of course, Hockenheim, brand new to the iRacing platform. We've never raced there in this championship. It could be interesting to see who's going to get on top there. But that's a long way to go. That's at the end of June that we've got to wait to find out. So just a month long, this championship, really, and we will see who's going to come out on top. But feature race results: Naveed Hussain taking the win by 2.8 seconds over Jason Smith, and Dave Maguire returns to the podium in P3. Jason Cooper is 4th. Rory O'Shea gets a top 5. Great result from Rory. And then we have Liam Matthews, who falls down to 6th place. And then Peter McCann in 7th. The podium just slipped away from him at the end. Paul King gets a great result in P8. Niall Murray and Sean McGovern, who started on pole. He's in the Pro-Am category, so we don't hold that against him for starting on pole and not holding his position. But Sean McGovern finishes in P10. Great recovery from Fabrizio Rivera as well. P11 for him. Harold Yutautis in P12 and Keith Dempsey P13. Second in Pro-Am then is Dave Collier, and Simon Wall is in P3 in the Pro-Am. Then Pat Masterson, Victor Cullen, and then it'll be Enda Farrell in P18 in the number 33 car. Wait to see what the last few results are, as we just wait to see if the rest of the results to scroll through. We have to wait for iRacing to calculate them for us. Mark Birney, P19. Brian McManus, P20. Disappointing day for those guys. Stuart Brereton in P21. Michael Seal, Adam Dowling, of course, contact with Brian McManus, and then Ronan Fox, Ronan Doherty, Aaron Dalton, Brendan Stone, Tony Stack, Wayne Douglas, Kshitish Van Keteshvar, and Evan Naylor in 31st. A few more to go down mould. All these guys are DNFing, of course. Owen Murray, Neil Ferrier, Nicky Meredith, big names. Alex Denning, Ian Malone, Evan Walsh, Rob Moore, and Chris McCann. Both of these guys took the start of either race, of course. But a bit of a disappointing day for the VRA guys. Overall, Peter McCann had a decent day at the office, but not what they would have wanted to start the season off. But a first and a second for Naveed Hussain, a first and a 4th for Jason Cooper. So Naveed Hussain will lead the title, of course. But as you said, I think it's going to be pretty tight across this season.
Yeah, and I think for your driver of the day, it's very difficult to get, to really go for anybody but Naveed Hussain in the Pro, and of course Sean McGovern in the Pro-Am. Sean winning both races, and Naveed coming from whatever about the first drive not being able to get past Jason, but the second drive, outstanding stuff. We'll just go to a quick word from our sponsors. We have a number of really brilliant sponsors for this series. One of those is SimuCube, who've given us great support over the years, and we'll just hear from them before we give our final thoughts.
That perfection doesn't exist in this game. Most players just don't have it in them. But those who dare to seek it might catch excellence. And that sounds perfect to me. So, I'm done playing. Let's drive.
Are you looking to get involved in simulator racing? Here at Digital-Motorsports.com, we're a one-stop shop for all your sim racing needs, supplying wheels, pedals, shifters, handbrakes, monitors, virtual reality headsets, seats, chassis, fully built sim solutions and custom built PCs from all the top brands that you know and love. To find out more, visit Digital-Motorsports.com.
So you know what to get and you know where to get it, though I can't guarantee that if you're in somewhere like Tony Stack's area, your broadband is going to whiz around quite quickly enough for you to be able to browse the Digital-Motorsports.com website like that. Thanks to our sponsors, of course, SimTag, brilliant direct drive systems they do, and their pedals are brilliant as well. SimuCube, of course, sponsored our main prize last year. Of course, a new sponsor, Grid Engineering, the dashes, wheels, and wheels with an integrated dash. That'd be particularly tasty for those of you who are thinking of building a full sim rig. I've seen a few of them out there and they look really nice. Button boxes as well, and of course Canadian based, so probably the most friendly customer service you're likely to find, of course, as well, thanks to Motorsport Ireland, with that big news that Digital Motorsport are sponsoring the ICCR Series coming up in Mondello, and I'm so looking forward to. We've seen at the Europa League final tonight a few supporters. I am so looking forward to seeing fans back at Mondello and being able to see some action in real life. Because as brilliant as our series is, and I do genuinely say the racing tonight has been absolutely fantastic again, to be able to hear those engines firing around Mondello, I don't know if there's anything beats it really, Jack, is there?
No, and I can say that from experience, that there's absolutely nothing that beats actually being there at Mondello, smelling everything, hearing everything, and just being around everyone once again, because it's been a long, long time since we've been able to do anything, and now we're finally been able to do. But we're going to bring Niall in back once again. He's been working hard on the cameras all night, setting up everything as well. Niall, not only is we've obviously got that title sponsorship news, but there's also I think there's even more exciting news for people at home for bridging the gap between sim and reality.
Yeah, for sure. Guys, look, you knocked it out of the park again tonight with the commentary, and just before we jump into that, this is everything we wanted, as we get a great picture of Peter McCann there. This is everything we wanted from the TCR Championship. You know, when we look back on that racing, and you guys have been with us for so long in this, the standard is just unreal at this stage. I can't think of any iRacing championship where you see that level of racing, and it's just it's a testament to the drivers. We say it week in, week out. Once the drivers turn up and they keep putting in the practice and they keep putting in the effort, we're going to keep up in our game, and we're going to keep pushing forward with the prizes, with the commentary, with the viewers. But with the level we have today, I'm super excited to say, yeah, we sat down with Mondello, with the guys down there, and as you know, we have a great relationship with Mondello and the team, and we said we put together a package where Digital Motorsports would title sponsor the ICCR Championship, and as part of that, it was just a real moment, Jack. I know you've been down there, and Kevin, we have to get you down very soon. But
I've been there, just not on a race day quite yet, but I have been there, can confirm.
yeah, well, we got to get you down, because the legend that is Paul O'Connell gave me a phone call when we were putting this together, and invited me down to sit into his F3 car, and next week we'll maybe show a little bit of onboard and footage of how that went. With a little bit of a damp day, all the usual drivers' excuses came out. My feet couldn't touch the pedals, all the rest, but to say that was just something extraordinary. And a big thanks to Paul, if he is listening, I'm sure he is, to get that opportunity to sit into the lap record holding car, an F3 Dallara, and to drive it, as Paul said, in anger, was something spectacular. But we do have something extremely, I'm not going to just let the cat out of the bag tonight, but if you are into motorsport, if you are looking for a way of getting into something, an F3 car or even an F3 car, we are working hard in the background to put together a package which will take the digital motorsports element of our drivers and give the opportunity to somebody to actually come down to Mondello and to taste some real life driving. So we're working hard on that package, and believe me, once we get it all done and the T's stroked and the I's dotted off, that will be something unbelievable and probably a first actually in the world. So I'm really looking forward to this partnership with Mondello and with the ICCR, and I cannot wait to drop that news once we have it all boxed off.
You tease more than a Russian dominatrix on these streams. You know that, Niall? It's one tease after the next. It's unbelievable.
Well, all I can say is it's going to happen. We have it there. As I said, it's just going to come down to just making sure that everything is in order, and as we said, it's safety first, and we want to make sure that everyone has the right opportunity for it. But do stay tuned, and of course, do not forget we've got a set of SimTag pedals. Where else would you get that, guys? Just for simply picking out who you think is the driver of our first round here in Donington. I couldn't pick one out. Genuinely, I was doing the cameras here in the background. It's such a huge grid. I'm looking at the gaps between everyone. I'm thinking, who the hell am I going to put a camera on here? It's happening everywhere. But we didn't see, we seen the blue flags respected. We didn't see anyone making any big errors or faux pas coming back onto the track. It was epic racing all around. I can't pick my driver of this, but I can't see further than maybe Sean McGovern, maybe Navid for the racing that was doing, but all around, hats off to all the drivers. And stay tuned next week. Make sure and get that driver championship in. You can't ask for a better prize than a set of sim tags, right? And we may have something coming towards the end of this championship that will just blow the socks off everyone. So again, I'll leave it up to you guys to sign off. Thanks so much for everybody for signing in. Please do, if you can, give something towards Barry Barable's GoFundMe there. It's super important. He's such a huge part of our community in racing, and we want to get that opportunity for Barry to go and get the procedures that he needs, and of course anything that's over and above what he needs, he's going to give back into the charity as well. So please do open up the wallets and let's support one of our own. And if you're listening, Barry, all love and respect, and we're hoping for a fast recovery from you and from everyone else who's listening in. Stay safe, keep the masks on, and we're all in this together. So I'll hand it over to Jack and to Kevin to sign off. But lads, you've knocked it out of the park again tonight. Thanks so much.
Jack, I was going to leave you jump in there, but do you want to jump in and say the last few words before we wrap things up here? How are you feeling going into next week at Imola? I think it's going to be a tasty enough track. I would love to have seen Ulton, but I think it is going to be a tasty enough track. A lot of late apexes, which will really get the most out of these TCR cars, I think.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, Imola's going to be great. Of course, we've got a really, really long straight as well. Of course, that pit straight, you've got Barable, that really fast-flowing section. You've got the tight technical section further on in the tracks. But I think it is very, very suited to these cars. These cars can abuse the curbs as well. So we're going to get some great shots of them hopping over the curbs and the chicane and all that way through. So of course we're back basically next week. So make sure to tuned, and I'm really looking forward to this championship. I mean, it's I was reminded immediately of the other championship that we had in these cars and how close the racing was, and the door banging, the rubbing, everything. It's brilliant, and it's nice to see some different names at the top of the list. It's back then it was Keith Dempsey domination, definitely not right now.
Yeah, definitely not. Jason Cooper taking the first of the pro races. Navid Hussain making up an insane amount of places to take the second for the pro class. Sean McGovern taking pole and finishing first in both of the pro-am classes. So it's all set up nicely as we get on board on a plane, a Ryanair plane. Hopefully we don't end up in Minsk, and we make our way to the Circuit de Emilio and Ferrari to Imola.
Of course, remember, if you we'll be putting a link in the comments to the Barry Barable GoFundMe, and I suppose in a time where we're all conscious of how fragile we are as human beings, it's brilliant to be able to help out a legend that is Barry. So even if you're listening back and you didn't get it in the comments, you can just Google GoFundMe, help Barry beat his brain tumor, or just even GoFundMe Barry Barable. But from myself and Jack, for a really exciting opening evening of the iDMC TCR Spring Series. Until next week at Imola, slán go fóill.